I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Don't be an asshole today.
Hi.
It's so nice to finally meet you.
You too.
I feel like we've been going back and forth a little bit, and then I was in a complete and utter panic when I saw that storm.
Oh yeah.
I
You know
was,
what the next day it usually takes me an hour to get in, and it took me three.
oh,
Three
that was
hours.
incredible. I mean, my jaw was just hanging open looking at that stuff. Like, wow, that was serious.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Ooh, I'll say.
All the subways were closed, and I mean a lot was
I
going
mean,
on.
when they showed the water rushing in that subway, I was watching it on CNN, and I was like,
I
"Oh
know.
my god, whew.
It was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was intense." And I'm from Florida, so that
Oh,
kind
you're
of stuff,
from okay,
yeah, that
yeah.
kind of stuff was like normal for me. But now that I've been here in England for 10 years and I've been away from it, to see it all, it made everything come flooding back, literally.
That's so great that you can work there.
Yeah, my wife is from Australia. I'm from Florida. We
Oh,
met
great.
through my first podcast, and then we have a friend here that had a business, and my wife took a job with her, so I ended up moving here.
Do you
Yeah,
love it? I love it there.
yeah, it's culture shock. I've been here 10 years, and I still feel like the obnoxious American. Like it's
You'll
never.
never, they'll always make you, yeah, on some
Yeah,
level.
yeah, and I go back home and people go, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're not picking up the accent at all." I was like, "I
You
was
are not
40.
picking up the
I
accent.
was
Yeah.
I was 40 when I moved here. I'm not gonna pick up an accent." But I don't even hear a trace of New York in your accent.
That's because my mother talks like this. She's from Brooklyn, and all of us tried not to talk like this.
I have friends from Long Island, and I always tease them and say, "My sister's sneakers." My sister's
Exactly.
sneakers, yeah. And my stepdad's from Long Island too, so he called me Warner.
Perfect.
Yeah, Warner. Yep, it's great. It's you expect it in the States, don't you? A little bit of New York, a little valley from the West Coast, a little
Yes.
hillbilly from from Mississippi, Alabama. Over here, it's
Yeah.
the same thing. There's so many different dialects over here that
I know the dialect thing you see, our whole creative team is from the UK for
really.
Tina. Yeah.
Oh, so you get to hear it a lot.
I hear it all the time.
So let's talk about your esteemed career, because first of all, I'm thrilled to have you. You're the first Broadway musician that we've had on the show, and I'm really proud to say this. You are our 50th episode, so it's kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Big deal, man. It's a big, and it's a first, and it's a first all around. But you were working. What are you working on, Radiant Baby?
I'm working on Radiant Baby because we're getting another production after all these years at the Two River Theater in Red Bank, New Jersey, which is where a lot of shows started that actually came to Broadway. I mean, Be More Chill started there, and just other plays. Oh, my dog's looking out the window.
Is it
Honey,
which one? Cooper or Lizzo?
Lizzo.
That
Lizzo.
is an adorable dog.
Yeah, that dog was, yeah, we got her from a shelter in Brattleboro, Vermont. So,
Oh, yeah, that's a recent
yeah.
acquisition. Yeah.
But basically we were in rehearsal to do a workshop, and one of the actors' husbands came in, and I mean the actors coming in and said his husband had COVID. So
Oh,
we had to shut down. That's
yep,
the protocol here. You shut down,
that's
you
it.
wait 5 days, you get tested right away, and then you get tested again before you come back. And we came back, we finished, and then from that workshop, they said we want to do the show again. So it's so great for me to revisit the show after 20 years.
Isn't that
Almost.
exciting? Did it all
Yeah.
come flooding back? Like everything?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Like,
were given the opportunity, which you never are, to like fix things that we couldn't fix before.
That's fun. You know,
Yeah.
that's nice that you're able to tweak, you know, and
Yeah.
because you've had 20 years to think about it.
20 years to think about it and say, most people say, oh, I wish I would have fixed this and that.
Yeah.
But it's really good that now we're getting to fix some stuff. And Keith Haring, by the way, has become way more popular than he was before. You
I was
can go
going
in
to say,
and
I know that name.
you can buy t-shirts, you can buy, it's all about his
Right,
lives.
right.
And
Oh,
how he used his AIDS diagnosis for social activism and
Right.
community and
yeah.
everything.
That's an amazing thing to do, first off. But yeah, it ends up kind of being a coup for you too.
Right,
It's
exactly.
huge. Now you've worked on a lot of different shows though over the years.
Did you see Lizzo back there? Look,
yes. Oh my God, so cute. I'm hoping my cats are upstairs.
Oh, you have cats. You're a
I
cat
do,
person.
yeah. I've got Big Head
Okay.
Bruce and little Molly, and they're upstairs. It's like it was so unexpectedly warm today. Like I hate summer over here because they don't have air conditioning, right? So
Right.
summers blow hard. But we've had like such nice, cool days that I was lulled into thinking that we were getting an early autumn, and then today, boom, 80. So I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So they're upstairs without fans going and the skylights open, they're cooling.
How come they don't have air conditioning?
The buildings were never built for it, you know?
Oh,
So,
interesting.
and they won't even, I mean, it's like they know.
But they have them in the hotels.
It's more climate control. You know, it's not so much that it's blowing cold air. It's kind of it's just like a climate control thing. But the homes, I think they don't feel like the expense is worth it because you only have like maybe 3 weeks of summer, you know, three weeks where it's exceptionally warm. But I keep telling them, like, I'll preach it, you know, to the day is long. Like, you don't have to live like this. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to have a sweaty house. You don't have, it's like they put fans on and think that
They
works.
don't even have the rolling ones.
They do that. We do. The rolling portable ones. And some of them, like, you have to put ice cubes in, which is kind of funny.
That's
And then it
really
blows cold air, or else
funny.
it's really just a fan on wheels. But it's really primitive. It's really primitive, and I hate it. I would rather go home to Florida in the summer just for the air conditioning. Like everybody,
Wow.
you don't go to Florida in July and August. I'm like, I would. I totally would. It's
Wow.
but anyways, so you've worked on other shows. Like, did I see? Because of course, I was mercilessly scrolling your Instagram. I saw something about Itina.
No, that's because I read that book while I was working on
Oh,
Tina.
okay.
I wanted to read that.
Yeah.
And now I'm also reading, I don't know if you know, but she has a new one called Happiness Becomes You.
No, but I just watched the documentary Itina. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, and this is really about her Buddhist practice, which is what's so freaky is that I've been a Buddhist for 34 years and I practice the same type of Buddhism as her.
Oh my God. I didn't even know there was different kinds. That's interesting.
Yeah, so like I chant the same chant that she chants. So when the show started and she starts out chanting in the show, if you ever saw What's Love Got to Do with Her, her friend gives her this chant.
Yeah.
That was so weird that the chant starts in the first measure of my score. And I was like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah, that's awesome. What made you I wanted to go back even further and say, do you find that it was harder, like as an out lesbian, to get work on Broadway? Because I feel like for an out gay man, it's instant.
It's funny. That's really funny. I just think that I never wanted to go into it in any way not being able to say, oh, my wife said that to me yesterday. Like, I just wanted it to be like a normal thing. I didn't have, and I was fortunate because the person that I first worked on Broadway for, she was a very good friend of mine and had music directed some of my musicals. And it came about, she was just talking to me saying, oh, I really need somebody who's who can be able to conduct, who can be able to go on stage, because in Jersey Boys you have to go on stage,
Yes.
who
Yeah.
can play piano, who can sing, because at the time we were singing in the pit. And I said, hello, me. And she goes, would,
Right
would
here.
you work as a sub? I said, of course I'll do a sub gig while I'm composing. It's nice to come in and play this. So I never set out to work on Broadway as an associate conductor. And then what happened was she left and they asked me, would you like the associate conductor position? And that was it. That was like,
Wow.
so yeah. So it was like, because I always thought of myself more as a composer and a music director, but not necessarily, I hadn't done it on Broadway yet. And then now I did that. I did Donna Summer, and now I'm doing Tina, but I'm not associate conductor on Tina. I'm just subbing and doing rehearsal piano because I have to concentrate on finally Radiant Baby coming back
Baby.
again.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's huge though. That's huge. And Donna Summer, another favorite. But Jersey.
Well, that was like my life flashing before my eyes, because when I first moved to New York, I was a disco piano bar player. I went into the piano bars, I put a drum machine down, and I was singing on the radio.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah. Yeah. Just so you know, I made a 70s drink, a 7 and 7.
Oh my God.
You know, like we got to take it back a little bit. And, you know, Tina Turner, Donna Summer. I thought, what? Yeah, just a standard 70s 7 and 7, Seagram and 7. So,
I
yeah,
love it. What
I was
time is
thinking
it
that, I
there?
was
It must be like 7, right? What time is it there?
it is quarter after 6.
Quarter after 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, anytime's drink time. Anytime.
Yeah,
It's Britain.
that's true.
You know, it's Britain. There's a pub on every corner. It's, you know, you drink anywhere. But yeah, those, I gotta say, Donna Summer, like that was, I remember when I was growing up. Well, I shouldn't say that. My parents always had the albums. So I always had
Right.
like the big can headphones, you know, with the curly cord.
Yeah.
Listening to Donna Summer over
The
and over and over
curly
again.
cord. Oh my
Yeah, the
God.
curly cord and the big cans. But I distinctly remember when CDs came out. This is, I'm
Yeah.
dating myself here, but when CDs came out, that was one of the first you know, greatest hits, 2 CD.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the first I had to get. And hearing that on CD was just, I mean, I just remember jacking it up in my condo and just hearing sounds that I never heard before, you know, and it's incredible. It's just the music, that era, all of it is,
Yeah, she was pretty special.
yeah,
Yeah.
so good, so good. And Jersey Boys was one of the first shows that I ever went to with my mom. My mother liked to go to live shows, so she always took me to, like, we went to see Diana Ross in concert every year for my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, and she always managed to get like really good seats, like third row, first row, you know. One year Rosie O'Donnell was right in front of us, and it was like, it was
Oh my
crazy.
God.
Yeah, and I was too scared to say anything, but it was really cool. So we went to like a lot of you know, like concerts, live music concerts.
Right.
But Jersey Boys was the first one that we went to, like an actual, you know, show in Florida at the Broward Theater, the big one, the Performing Arts Theater, and we were both on our feet for the entire thing,
It's so
singing
good.
every word. And
That show taught me a lot of sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
That show taught me so much. I just don't want to forget this because it ran for 11 years on Broadway.
Yeah.
And it was an example of why a show is a hit. It's not only the music, it's the book. And the book of that musical at the time was kind of outrageous because people were saying fuck every other word.
Yeah.
And it just, yeah, it wasn't. And the first person that says fuck is Mary Delgado, the person that he marries first. She goes, you know, Valley with an I. If they don't like it, they can go fuck themselves.
Right.
And in the beginning, it was like a big deal for a woman to be the first one to say fucking, and you know, and it was all planned. Every place that was supposed to get laughter got the same laughter every night. Every line got the same applause. It was just this example and masterclass in what a hit show is.
Definitely. And you know every word. And
Right.
to me, it was the story. Like, you know, my uncle was in a band growing up, and you know, so everybody always talked about music all the time. Like I remember
Right.
coming home from school when I was little, and walking in, and the Coasters were sitting, the 4 black guys sitting at my kitchen table with my
Wow.
yeah, Buster, all of them, like, you know, and it was like, wow,
Wait,
But
were you in Miami?
this was when I was up in New York,
But
and then
wait,
I
were
moved
you in? Are you from Miami?
nearby.
Okay, because my sister lives in Cutler Bay, so I was
Oh
seeing.
yeah, kind of. I was in like Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
So
Fort Leonard. Yeah, my
an
mother's there
hour
now.
out.
She's in
Yeah.
Sunrise, Florida.
Yeah, yeah. We yeah, so we always had music in the family, but I think when I left Jersey Boys, I remember saying to my mother, I never knew the story behind them. So
Yeah,
like I didn't know all of that. I didn't know any of it.
yeah.
Um
The story is pretty amazing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was really mind-blowing, but it's it was the thing that I think seeing that um it made me start paying attention to musicals a lot more
Yes.
than just seeing a clip on television or a clip on the internet or whatever. Like I really wanted to go and be and sit in the audience and take it all in. Like I worked in theater, but like South Florida little theater, so
Right.
we were doing Butterflies Are Free and Wait Until Dark and things like that. But and then one big musical a year, Sound of Music every year, Camelot every other year.
Because yeah,
Um,
they want the ticket sales. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, the old Jewish ladies liked it, and that's the important thing. Little Steel Magnolias every now and then.
I
But
love it.
the musicals, once I remember back then, like I got everybody into it. We went to go see things like Jelly's Last Jam,
Right.
Sunset Boulevard, and all that. And then when I came here, the West End, we first show I saw when we came here was Billy Elliot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Oh, that's great.
there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I just feel like it's such a thing when you walk into a theater, before anybody gets there and those lights come on and you just take it all in and it's just a thing that never leaves you,
And every night it's the same, but anything could happen. The great thing about live theater that we've all missed during the pandemic is that sense that anything could happen. We're all good on Zoom. We're all good doing these things from remotely. But the
Yeah.
truth is that whole live feeling that anything can happen it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I think that affected me, of course, not being able to go home, not being able to see family, not being able to see friends, that kind of thing, but knowing what was happening to
Right.
Broadway was, it was tough, like
Yeah.
I knew that they were going to try and find funding and keep things going and everything, but I just, like all my friends, especially over here, musicians, performers, and everything that felt it, it was just a level of like, oh my God, who would have thought something like this could happen? That
Yeah.
thing just loomed over. But now it's coming back slowly. Like, are you guys at full capacity or how are
Well,
they handling it?
we just started rehearsals this week, and all I did this week for 4 days was help play rehearsal piano and teach two new people parts to go into the show.
Okay.
So I haven't been with the full cast yet. That's happening tomorrow. And
Oh, okay.
tomorrow we're doing full cast, but we're even not doing rehearsal tomorrow. The first 2 days are dedicated to diversity training because that's also a big thing coming back to Broadway. People want that to change.
Oh, very
Uh,
good.
yeah, after the whole George Floyd murder thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah,
want to,
it's gotta be, nationwide. It can't
it's
just be
got,
something that happens
and it's
there.
got to come from the top down in
Right.
theater too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just, it's incredible, what a slow process it is to get back to, what we know.
Yep.
Everything is in these tiny little incremental stages to see how it goes. I mean, we've been doing split level living because my wife tested positive, you know,
Wow.
fully
When was
vaxxed.
this recently?
Yeah, yeah. This is our 11th day of the upside, the upstairs downstairs living. But she was fully vaxxed, so her symptoms were mild, like a little sniffle, cold here, and then just gone in like 2 3 days. But just to be on the safe side, you know, because that's the hard thing. Like
How did she know to test it?
she had traveled a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she had taken a train over to Manchester, Blackpool, Leeds,
Right.
and
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
but she was testing like every 2 days while she was there, and traveling just to know. And then she got home and the next day, she tested negative the whole trip and then gets home and the next day, positive. So, yep, shoved her immediately in the upstairs guest room and Lysol wipe clean, masks when we mask mandate for the downstairs. That was mask mandate when you're downstairs. But I tested negative the whole time. So I guess we handled it in the safest way possible, but it's just
Yeah.
weird that this is like the new norm.
We're testing every 72 hours. We have nurses on site every 72 hours and we get tested.
And
Everybody
this is for every production that's coming up, isn't it? Or
yeah, and everybody in the audience has to show their vaccination cards.
Oh, great.
There's going to be nobody in the audiences that is not vaccinated.
Good. Yeah, I think I honestly I can't believe what's happening over there because people just refuse. Like it's
That's
just
right.
it's just going to take forever to get it under control. And they're just not convincible. It's like I still I will still waste my breath and preach, you got to do it, you got to do it. But I know that it's not getting through, and that's just sucky.
I know I had to come to another point with it because some of my closest friends aren't getting vaccinated. So first I got like hostile.
Yeah. Irate. Yeah, I don't get it.
And then I just thought, I don't know if I can throw my really good friends out. The
thing of it is that you just have to keep them at arm's length. That's it. Like, I'm sorry, but can't hug you. Nope, can't come over. No, and it just doesn't seem to get through. It's really, really difficult, especially because you think like in your industry, like I said, hit so hard, right in the pockets, right in the pockets. And you would think that the people who love you and care about you would want to get this thing under control. Not to mention that New York was the first hot spot. Everybody saw what New York went through, and yet they can't be convinced. It's really, really strange.
But yeah, I mean, it's a hard subject to talk about because I do understand people's fear with something not being FDA approved and putting it into your body. But we personally had friends that died.
Yeah.
So that's different when you have people very close to you die.
It's so true. It's so true. We had my mother's still lives in Florida, and she's had the same home health care aide that comes a couple times a week. Same one for like 13 years. She's like part of the family, she's like my half Jamaican Black sister, whatever. She is what she is. And she's amazing and adorable. And she loves my mom like nobody's business. And I couldn't ask for a better person to be around my mother all the time. But she got vaccinated, and then 4 days later got the virus. 2 days after that was in the hospital. Day after that, ICU. 2 days after that, a ventilator for 5 weeks, and came through. And she's finally like got stamina and up and about and able to work. And
How old?
Oh, like 40s, late 40s. Yeah, it's so scary. And when it affects you like that, and then you got people that are preaching about not doing it, like that's just the stuff that
I know. We had friends that died a week apart, and husband and wife a week apart, and he kept posting about her. She's doing better, and then all of a sudden he went down. And
yeah,
I mean, oh my God.
It's hard. It's why I guess it's just stuff like that I don't understand why it doesn't affect them the way it affects us. It's a tough one. It really is. I had to like convince my cousin, was deathly afraid to get it, deathly afraid. And I said, like finally she made the appointment, and then we were texting at what would be her 5 a.m. She's like, I can't sleep. I'm already up. I'm so nervous about doing this. I don't know if I should cancel. I said, first of all, what are you scared of? 100 million people have it. Tell me exactly what you're scared of. She goes, because everything weird happens to me. I'm like, I don't even get that. She's like, some weird side effect thing that won't happen to anybody else. It'll happen to me. I'm like, oh, stop it. So I finally got her to go. And then I checked in like every other, like, are you all right? How you feeling? You okay? Totally fine. But the thing was that she had tickets to go to a football game. She had tickets to go to a college football game. She had tickets to go to Kenny Chesney. And I'm like, you're going to be around so many people. You should want to protect yourself, and everybody around you. Like, this is just ridiculous. You just got to do it. So I was
And
like so proud. I pushed one person into it. Like, yeah,
good for
yeah,
you.
yeah. It's ridiculous. It really is. But like, these are the things I want to be able to go back and go to the West End and see shows. I want to be able to be around people. So I'm going to do what I need to do. I
Right.
can't not be with it anymore, especially that it's all coming back. It's one thing when nothing's
Yeah.
going on, you're not missing nothing. It's all coming back now.
All
Like,
coming back.
I can't wait to to go into London. We live like outside of London. I can't wait to get like back into the action and get into the West End's got to feel. I'm sure but it's got to
Yeah.
feel like nothing else. It's just like it's crazy buzzy and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, there's a lot going on. Like, I just don't, I want to be a part of it. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you want people to come and yeah, I'm glad people are asking for vaccination cards. Like, I really am.
Yeah.
I,
And we'll see what kind of audiences we get. I mean, I'm very curious. We're sold out again, everybody's
that's
wants to see.
fantastic.
So we'll
That's
see.
good. And do you guys have an opening date for Radiant Baby?
Yeah, October 8th. Oh, no. You're talking about, I thought you were talking about Tina. Yes, Radiant Baby is going to be June of 2022, this coming June.
Oh, fantastic.
And Tina is opening on October 8th.
Well, that's exciting. That's like
Yeah,
that's seriously right around the corner.
I know.
Yeah, that's gonna pack them in. Like, I mean, think about it. Tina's had a year, man. Like, Tina's had a big year. Like, between the book and the documentary, it's just it's people are curious. Like, I can't wait. And again, everybody knows that music. Like,
Yeah, and that in that documentary they showed the opening night when Oprah was there, and and it was
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. I'm so happy for you. Like, you're so busy. When I got when I got that email from you and you told me about Radiant Baby, I'm like, Jesus, we got to figure out a date, because I just knew that you were just going to keep getting busier and busier and busier now that things are happening. And that's great. I mean, that's just, it's, there's nothing like being able to do what you love to do. And I'm sure it was a journey for you to get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a singer-songwriter kind of a person. And so I always wrote. So even if I wasn't working or being commissioned or didn't have an agent yet as a composer, you just write because you write all the time, you just for myself as a singer-songwriter,
Right.
and then when I started writing theater, I had to write for other characters, which my first show, I think I wrote when I was 25 or something like that.
Oh
But
my God. That's
yeah,
young.
I know.
That's
Oh,
young.
but I started writing singer-songwriter songs from the time I was 13. I got my first song published when I was like 16.
Are you kidding? Oh my God.
It's one of
That's
those
in
things.
you. That's like something that's in you. That's amazing.
I
But
always knew what I wanted to do, always.
how, tell me the difference, I guess. Like you just said, like, I had to write for characters.
It's different. The first script I was given that I actually set lyrics to music was back in the early 80s. And this woman who was a TV writer had wrote this musical called Sophie, about the life of Sophie Tucker, who
Oh,
was, yeah, amazing. And it was looking for a composer, and my friend recommended me, but I'd never written a musical. And I read the script and the lyrics were there. She's one of those writers that writes the dialogue, which is called the book of a musical,
yeah.
and then wrote the lyrics. And I just started setting them to music, and it was the most natural thing ever.
Really?
Very weird. And that first show got produced immediately in 1985 or 6 at the Jewish Repertory Theater in New York, off Broadway. And I just loved it. And I loved writing for characters because you really can write in different keys. Like, I was always writing the same key for me because I knew where I could sing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
this was like writing differently for different characters' voices and thinking differently that way. And
Yeah.
I had always been in shows as an actress and a singer and stuff, but I'd never written musicals until that time. And then I just really loved it.
That's crazy. Like, that
I know, it's weird.
when something comes easy, that it's meant to be. Not easy, not
No, but you're right. You're
But
right.
it's meant to be there, that there, the struggle, you know, is gone and you can just focus and it flows. It's meant to be.
Right. And also, whenever I had in the past gone to publishers to try to get a publishing deal, like in pop music, when that was a thing, in the 70s and 80s, they'd
Yeah.
always say, "You'd be such a good theater writer." They always said that.
Isn't
And
that
I said,
something?
"But I want to be a pop writer. I want to be on the radio." Now there's like no such thing as, I mean, there is, but everybody can
Right.
drop
Who knew?
streaming. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I download more Broadway songs on my phone than I just, than I do regular music anymore, because it takes you back to the day that you saw the show.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's like I would much rather, sing show tunes all the way to a destination when we're in the car, than
That's
putting the
great.
radio on. It's just funner. It
That's really
is.
funny.
It is. And I'm talking about like weird one. Like I said, Camelot, like all those ones that take me back to, the 80s or whatever when I was in theater. I'll still do. I wonder what the king is up to tonight, and sing Richard Burton's part in the car.
That's
It's
funny.
great, though. But I think the thing that I love the most, like especially about the Tina show too, is that, with Jersey Boys, you already know, most of the history, the story, and you can really just enjoy it in the music. It's just something that it's just familiar. It's a familiar thing, and it's there's nothing quite like it. There really isn't.
Yeah.
And teaching, especially like because with Radiant Baby, like you said, you can tweak it, but right now you're in the teaching stages where you're teaching new people, right?
Well, the music director, thank God, because I used to be music directing my own shows. It's not a good idea.
That's
But
hard.
we hired this great music director who actually 18 years ago when we did the show was the piano player for the show and the
I
copyist.
thought I saw that on your Instagram.
So it was amazing that he came back, and now he's Billy Porter's music director. Billy Porter was in Radiant Baby the first time
The
around.
first time around. Yes. And look at him.
I
Sword.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just, I mean, he is everything in Pose. He is everything.
Yeah, he really
What an
is.
amazing voice he has. Just it's incredible. And I just think it's one, so you got your music director, but it's so hard to teach somebody what you want them to do.
I know. And that's why I needed to get somebody that understood the genre, because New York in the 80s, that kind of club scene, and I wanted to be authentic. I didn't want it to be like a theater version of it, like it had. And, a lot of that stuff when you went into clubs was like boom, 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 boom when you walk in a club.
Yeah.
And like when you're sitting in your seat in the theater, that's not necessarily, you want to get up, so.
Yeah.
And you're inundated, but you can't dance.
No.
So you have to make it palatable for people to listen to and not just have it booming in their face
Exactly.
without it being character driven too. You have to walk a fine line.
Yeah,
with that.
definitely.
Yeah.
And you are like recreating that time, which is kind of fun, but it also it's like you said, it's difficult to do that without offending that group of people that were there.
Yeah. Right. And they're still alive, those
And
artists.
of course, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And they're still alive.
No, I mean the
Excellent.
artists that knew Keith Haring.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm so happy for you. That's gonna be so fun. It's so it's twofold. Like it's great that everything's coming back, and it's great to be able to go see all this stuff. But now it stinks because like for a while there, we were getting National Theater plays for like a couple quid. Like we would just throw a donation, and we
yeah.
were, two men, one governor, or whatever, with James Corden.
Yes,
And,
yes.
the one with Tamsin Greg, and it was like in our home we were watching these things that we would have gone to see, so
I
that's
know.
going to stop. But again, you still get to go, and that's the important thing.
A lot of people, like my mother, saw Hamilton, the live
Yeah.
version of it, and she was like, "Oh my God!" It was great.
Right. I mean, that's the really that's the the downside for people that don't want to, get dressed up and have a night out. You were able to see
Right.
the things that everybody was talking about. Me most of the time. But it seems like we go so long, so far and few between the Hamiltons and
Yeah.
the Tinas and the Donna Summers, and you know, so I think like the next big one, like if you had to guess, what would you say the next big boom will be? Like who will give their story? Who will tell their story and get people to come?
You mean on Broadway, like
Yeah.
one of these jukebox musical things?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's
Jukebox musical. I like
well,
that.
there's a Michael Jackson one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's here. It's
And
actually
Jay.
here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's I know of some that are coming down. I actually was working. Do you remember a band called the Violent Femmes?
Yes.
There's actually a musical using their music
Oh, cool.
that's coming up.
That's really cool.
I don't know. There's a lot of ones that I think there should, like I love Pink. Wouldn't it be great if we had a Pink musical?
Oh, yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I can
Ah,
see the twirling,
yes.
part Cirque du Soleil, part,
She has a lot of great stuff though in her life too about her father and her, and
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really into Pink.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
also into. I also think Sia would have a good musical.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And I Get on Your Feet with Gloria Estefan.
Yes,
That was
that was good. I saw that show On Your Feet.
did you? Because you there's something about you that reminds me a little bit of her.
That's so funny you said that. When I used to have long curly hair, I don't know if you saw old pictures of me, but I'll
Yeah.
send. Everyone always said you look like Gloria Estefan,
It's
and
so
when I
true.
sang, they said that, and I reminded them of her singing too.
Really? Oh,
Isn't that weird?
yeah.
That's weird.
It's honestly, it was the first thing I thought of. Like the first thing I thought of when I saw your picture. And we have to, we have to take a second out to do a little shout out to Sandra Valls for.
Oh my God! You know the story of Sandra and me, right?
No, I do not.
Oh my God!
She just said,
Sandra
talk
was
to my friend.
Okay, Sandra Valls. She was the backup singer in my band in the early 90s.
There you
and
go.
She was so good and so
She-
talented.
she
And then
did.
I introduced her to my Dyke sister, and they fell in love. And she moved in with my sister. I think they lived together 5 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's why Sandra and I are very, very good friends, because she was my sister-in-law for a little bit
She
of
was
time.
literally your sister-in-law. That's hysterical. Yeah,
Yes.
she's got an amazing voice too that I was blown away by because I didn't see it coming. Went to a comedy show and she belted out like an Aretha song, and everybody just kind of went,
Yeah, no, she's an incredible singer.
Yeah.
And my sister was the one that she talks about sometimes in her act, that she says, and then my girlfriend broke up with me and said, you should become a comedian. You're really funny. It was because of my sister that she went into comedy.
she's definitely she's layered. She's layered.
And it's very rare to be able to be funny and to have a great voice.
right.
You either are a great singer and you're not funny,
Yeah.
or you have a great voice. I mean, or you're really funny and you can't sing.
Can't sing. Exactly. That's why I think it just kind of like we were on a cruise together, and she was, doing. We went to go see her in the stand-up lounge, and that just, I mean, everybody really, their jaws just went.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know it was a thing. We didn't know it was a thing she did.
And
So,
I'm so happy that she actually puts it into her act now.
yeah. Like, don't hide that. Don't hide that.
No.
That's a secret weapon. That's fantastic. So yeah, it is. It's and I think about that too. Like when you are when a show is getting cast or whatever, and you see something in someone, isn't that like a moment where you go, they're going to have a long career, like they're going to have a
Yes.
storied, long, special career. And I'm sure you've worked with like a lot of people, where
Yeah.
like there's, I mean, I remember the first time I saw Audra
McDonald.
McDonald, yeah, and I just went, wow, like that's that's some voice. That's a boomer, you know, that's a boomer. That's amazing. It's got to be so cool to see people on their way up, people on their way down. You know,
Yeah.
you're working with quite you know, a huge range, because that's the thing about Broadway is everybody gets a, you know, you get your shot eventually. You know, you
Yeah.
work hard enough and you get your shot. And
Yeah.
that's the coolest thing ever. Did you find it was hard to break through, like to get people to take you seriously, or to get an agent, to get work?
Well, I did these one woman shows way back when I was in Tony and Tina's
Tony
wedding.
and Tina's wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after Tony and Tina's wedding, I decided the show was closing, and I thought, you know what? I want to put together my own show. So I invited agents to this show. It was kind of like a showcase for me because it showed me playing piano, that I could write, I could be funny, I could tell the story of my life, write songs about it. And that's how I got my agent, my first agent.
Oh,
Came
fantastic.
to that show, yeah, and saw what I could do. So it's kind of like I made a showcase for myself, right? And then as time went on, I wrote another one. That the first show was called Go to Your Womb, and it was about my relationship with my mother. And then the
Brilliant.
second show I wrote was called A Womb with a View, which is about me trying to have a baby with Kim.
Oh my God.
And it was a really funny show, and it was right when people were, you know, shopping for sperm online for the first time, and you know, it
Yeah.
was really funny, you know.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
yeah, so that's kind of how I did it. You know, I got an agent first as a composer and a music director, and then just one thing led to the other. And for 12 years during that time, 1 or 2 days a week, I was teaching in a private school theater to kids. So I learned a lot during that time too. I was in Brooklyn, and I was at a private school in Park Slope. And I started a theater department for kids where we wrote these irreverent fourth grade musicals, me and my friend Maggie. Like the hare and the tortoise. After they raced, you know, the tortoise like ruined. I mean, the rabbits all went to court with because because the rabbits got their reputation ruined by losing to a tortoise. So now I'm thinking about it. It was really funny. And so they went, you know, they went to court to sue the rabbit that raced against. Anyway, we did
Oh
these
God.
reverent musicals. Like we didn't do musicals that condescended to kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to the store now. Do you want? No, it was like order in the court. You know, all rabbits be seated.
That's so funny. That's great. What a way to hone it, you know, with little experimental fourth graders. That's
Yes.
fantastic.
And then I got my second agent that way because my agent had one of her kids in the show and said, my kid is so excited. He's been into sports, never into theater. What are you doing with these kids? I said, I'm writing these irreverent musicals where things are coming out of their mouth that are adult jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is insane. We have to sell these musicals. And that's how that happened. It was weird.
I mean, and look at like cartoons now are made more for adults than they are for kids. So you were like well ahead of your time.
Yeah, you have to you have to always be creating. You never know where anything's going to end up.
Right.
If you're a creator of any sort, you know.
Exactly. You can't let your wheels get rusty. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's true. That's how I feel about
and I was out at school too. There's a part of that.
You were what? Say that again.
I was out in the 90s at school, and that was not done.
No, I can't even imagine. And you were in the secret pocket in the sweet spot in Park Slope.
Park Slope. And I even wrote a song called Park Slope Dykes, which it was very funny. It was in my
that's right there.
And it tells the story about me coming out into my fourth grade theater class and how I did it and how I made a paper trail and wrote to the principal and told him what happened.
A paper trail. Oh my God, that's look at that. That's so funny. That's Jesus. When you look back, like how funny is that stuff? Like that's great though. In the 90s when no one was really doing it, you know, nobody was like, I mean, people were cuspy, you know, like I think I came out in like the late 90s, like 1998, 1999 to my husband. I came out to my husband. and got that squared away. But yeah, I think like nobody was everybody. It's like it was just an underground thing. You had your friends,
Yeah,
you had your
it was
bars, you
just
had your clubs.
exactly. And New York had a lot of gay bars back then. So it was
Okay.
easy, like, to like walk in there, especially if you didn't know what you were and you just wanted to see what the scene was like. It
Yeah.
was a little, you know what I mean? So it was like, it was different. I did have an insane fear of coming out as a performer. When I was in a place where I wanted to be a performer, I just thought, this is because, we all knew Whitney was gay, and,
Yeah.
it was very sad. But the thing is, I I don't know. I lost so many friends in the AIDS epidemic too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's hard. We just had that BBC series, It's a Sin. I think it
oh,
made its way over to
oh
cable.
really? Because I got to see that. No, I haven't seen
Oh,
that.
it was so good. It was so good.
Oh,
It was one of those ones that sticks with you. You know.
yeah.
Oh, hi. Now my cat comes down, sniffing around for
Well,
food.
this whole time, my dog, if you can see, has been
Oh,
laying like.
good. How good. Yep. Hasn't made a peep. That's perfect.
Lizzo plays my wonderful huswife, and I use that term. You know why I use huswife?
Yeah.
Because at the age of 50, Kim finally comes out to me as non-binary transmasculine and says, "This is what I am." There were never words for it. That's what we have the
That's
younger
what it is. There
generation.
were never words for it.
There were never words for it. So I just thought I was married to a butch dyke. That was,
Right.
and I was happy with that. And then all of a sudden, this coming out was so great because for me, I was like, oh, I can get to know my partner deeper. This is amazing. After 18 years of being with a person, they come out as this other thing, and you're able to go, wow, this identity is really what you feel. And I was shocked at how many people left their partners when they.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. Especially women who were married to men and the men were trans feminine. They wanted to be women,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and they didn't want to be looked at as lesbians. Excuse me, it's not about you.
It's
It's
not
about the person.
exactly the person that you love.
But I don't mean to make light of it because I
No,
do understand.
it's
I do understand, but I always try to find the humor in everything, you know.
that's how you. I mean, you kind of have to get through stuff like that. Like my mother has MS, and we tease her all the time. And you're not special. Other people have it. That kind of thing. But
You have to keep people their spirits up. I think humor really is the sixth sense. I'm
yeah,
serious. That's why it's on my Instagram thing.
it's
Because
it's true. Yeah,
it's a sense. It's a sense of humor.
it
You have
most
to develop
definitely
it.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely is. And that the thing, like you said, is that now that there's words for it, I think, like, I don't understand how anybody can feel upset by it, because how often, like, do you feel a feeling and you can't put words to it, and you just let it go, or you ignore it and you forget about it, and you don't, but when there's a breakthrough like that, and you can attach your feeling to an actual
Right.
description, a word, a thing,
That
it's like
is
that should be
yeah,
celebrated on every level.
every level. And
Oh,
I just love the whole non-binary thing, which is what and the fact that everybody's different in wanting what their pronouns should be. Like Kim does not want they them because for Kim it feels like it splits her in half. So she said, can you just alternate pronouns with me? Sometimes call me she, sometimes call me he. I don't really care. It's more about how
it's a
people see
mood.
me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a mood, right?
So
I
the fluidity of that is a revelation to me. A revelation.
I 100% agree.
Yep.
100% agree. It is,
Yeah.
and I keep thinking to myself, like, I'm glad I'm here to learn about this kind of thing, because, like, I think, in the late 90s and in the early 2000s, we were just happy to be out and be able to say, I'm a dyke, I'm a lesbian, I'm a queer, whatever. And now this up and coming generation analyzes everything so much, and
Yeah.
they're pinpointing the things that we just breezed by,
Right.
because because we were okay with, like, one word, one word. We were okay with that. So yeah, you gotta commend.
And I do love the word queer now because
do
you see,
too,
I
yeah.
don't want to identify as a lesbian anymore because yes, it is in relation to this person who I love, who's on the gender spectrum, and
Yeah,
so I feel like queer is a really good word now,
yeah, it's
which
more all
before,
encompassing,
yes,
Yeah, yeah, and it does. It's kind of like the thing I like about of it is it does feel like it's pretty much a vast inclusion. You know, like we could say that, and I think everybody gets it.
I
That-
agree. I
that's a
agree.
beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
I'm. You know what? I am so thrilled that we have covered so many different things, and I don't want to take up your whole Labor Day, so I'm going to let you go. But I want to say thank you, and I want to thank Sandra for hooking us up, and I want to say that as soon as I'm able to travel again, I cannot wait. I've never been to New York City, and I grew up in Buffalo. I grew up in
Oh my
Niagara.
God, I'm from Syracuse.
Shut up!
I
Shut
am.
the front door.
I'm from Syracuse and I went to school in Rochester.
Rochester. Yes. Oh my God.
So if you do hear any accent, that's the accent.
Yeah. It's so true. I grew up in Niagara Falls, and I have to say, I always have to specify on the New York side. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the last like 6 years or so over here, when people go, "Oh, are you American?" I had to say I'm Canadian because I didn't want to be associated with the Trump thing.
So you said Niagara Falls.
I said Niagara Falls. I wasn't lying. I said Niagara Falls, and then they would say, "Oh, okay," and then or they would just say like, "Oh, you're American." I'd be like, "No, Canadian, Canadian," because I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to hear.
Boy, it must have been terrible to
Oh,
be
the
over there.
ribbing and the embarrassment, just the sheer embarrassment. So like now I can go back to saying I'm from Niagara Falls.
So you can work over there.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
I worked in a pub for a little bit, which was that was great. That was fantastic. I mean, there were so many times where I didn't understand what people were saying because of their dialects or their accents or whatever. And I would, by the third time I went, what? I would just move aside and say, just point to the bottle, just point, point to what you want. And then they would point and I'd be like, oh, amaretto. They were saying like Di Serrano, and I didn't understand what they were talking about. And it was just amaretto. And I was like, we don't, okay. So it was a learning experience, like the difference between ales and lagers and stouts and porters and all that. It was great because it was all stuff I was interested in. It was like getting an education and getting paid, so it was fun. And then it got sold. And now it's just sitting there empty because it got sold to some like corporation, and it's not, and it was 50 steps from my front door. It was like the best job.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for it. So I'm hanging in there, and I'm hoping like somebody either rents it and opens up a new pub and I can get back in there, because it was just amazing that I lived here for so long and I didn't know anybody in my neighborhood or anything.
And now then you did, yeah.
Then you work in a pub, you get to know way too much about the people in your neighborhood.
That's right.
All right, come on, get down.
What's your cat's name?
The little one is Molly. She's our
I love it.
She's only 2. And then we've got Bruce, who we lovingly refer to as Big Head Bruce because he's a Mancoon and he's huge.
Yeah.
Like the kind that he climbs on you and it crushes, it's bone crushing. He's so big and heavy. But he's also like a gentle giant. So he's been really good about the little one being hyper and all over. She treats him like a big brother. Like she jumps on him and she wrestles with him. And,
right.
He just gives her a swat when he's done. So they're, she's still got that kitten in her that's exhausting, to say the least.
I love it.
It's funny.
Well, I'm really glad we got a chance to talk because I'm
too.
going to go back and tell Sandra that this was really
Oh
fun.
yeah, man. Give her a high five, a big smooch, a hand slap, a pinch. And like I said, man, the minute we can travel, I would love to come and see all the great things that you're doing.
Yeah, just remember June is going to be Radiant Baby. So if you do come next summer or whatever, things are more calm.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That'd be
definitely
great.
gonna. It's like I keep saying, just gotta let things cool off a little bit, and then we'll see how we go. But yeah, I'm gonna do it because like I've never been there, and I've always had to layover. Like especially when I lived in Florida, and I'd want to go back home to Buffalo, I would lay over at JFK, sit there for 2 hours, and never left the airport.
Right.
So now I want to, I definitely want to get get there and see things and do things, and not long. Like I think a weekend. I think a weekend will
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, a weekend. You can see a lot of shows on a weekend.
Yeah, and I'm all about that. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. Well, listen, go grill some burgers, and thank you so much for taking time out on Labor Day. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is good. This is my last day off and I go full into everything
Full on,
tomorrow.
right?
So yeah, this
have a
has
good
been a really good break for me. Thank you.
Good. Okay, listen, have a great time and good luck with everything.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Take care, honey.
Bye-bye.
There,
He drank way too much whiskey.
like never stop chasing your dreams.